Hello and welcome to another video where we will be discussing mid-tier tactics. In this video, as you can see, I will be playing the Warspite, which is arguably one of, if not the most powerful battleship at tier 6. And we'll be playing on the big race. So when you play a battleship, there's some things that you need to have in mind due to the properties of battleships. So generally speaking, you more than for other classes, you need to pre-plan like an expected route that you're going to take. And one of the reasons for that, of course, being that your turret traverse is really slow. So the more sharp turns or 180-degree turns that you make through the battle, the less economical you are with your shooting time, because it takes a long time to traverse the turret. So if you can maximize the amount of time that you have with guns on target, then it can really affect your total damage output. You also need to keep in mind target management and your ammo selection. So and I will get a little bit more into that now. So let's get the video started here. And as you can see, we're starting on the big race, and I'm all the way out on the flank. Normally, no matter almost what class of ship and position I get, I tend to go for A cap, simply because A is on this map is normally where the destroyers meet, and if you can take out the destroyers early, that's a huge advantage for your team. Generally speaking, AA superiority is one of the best early indicators of success for your team. Just taking a quick look at the team composition, I see 2 destroyers, I see 2 cruisers, and then 3 battleships. And what I see here leads me to believe that we have a quite favorable team composition compared to the enemy team, and I'll get into why exactly I think that in another video that I will be making about risk analysis based on team composition. So anyway, I'm starting near the C cap, and as you will see in a moment, I decide to go for C cap. And because I'm going for the C cap, I do not load high explosive because I expect destroyers to go to A cap. So I'm thinking that I will be meeting cruisers and battleship up here, if anything at all. So usually there's somebody who goes for C, maybe 1 or 2 enemy ships. But if not, then I am in a good position to still shoot into B cap and make a left turn down towards B and like sweep around the map, so to speak. And note that I'm not talking about a wide flanking maneuver, because wide flanking is a losing tactic in this game. I want to be clear about that from the beginning. So as you can see, I'm aiming for the outer part of C, so I can quickly get back into the battle and not make myself irrelevant. So now let me just pause video for a short moment, because what we see now is that I'm going into C cap with a cruiser of our team, and I see a pretty big push towards B by the enemy team. So we have right now we can see 1 destroyer, a battleship, and DD, and the cruiser. And the cruiser is a Königsberg, so he's broadsiding me, and he's really a prime target. I'm going to make him a priority simply because Königsberg, Nürnberg, and the other Bergs in tier 5 and 6 are excellent DD killers, and if I can get rid of this guy quickly, then we have a much bigger chance of achieving DD superiority, especially if this cruiser is played by a skilled player. He slams the brakes, but I managed to get some shots in anyway, as do some other guys on my team. And you can see up here now there's really a big concentration of ships, enemy ships. It looked like they didn't really contest A, so we got A. Königsberg is reversing out, noping out. He knows now he made a mistake, but yeah, that's not going to save him. He died, and next up is enemy Devonshire, and he's broadsiding me, which is just lovely. And I engage my rapid reload because I want to make sure that going this way here. want to make sure that we pump as many shots into him as we can. So we have a Königsberg dead here, and we have the Devonshire going this way. And if you look at the minimap, you will see that there's also an enemy battleship coming this way. So, but for now, I'm just focusing on the cruiser, on the Devonshire, getting some more good shots in. And by all accounts, it look like this guy will probably die pretty quickly. And both the Devonshire and the Viribus Unitis, they get some good salvos in on me, so crack my screen even. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, the Devonshire, he's done, but he actually turned in, and I don't compensate enough for that. So you see, it was a nice tight cluster of shells, but yeah, I just exactly missed him, so he will live a little bit longer, and maybe I'll have to reevaluate him. It seems like he more or less knows what he's doing. He knew that he was being targeted. And yeah, we still have a lot of the enemies at B, around B, and also more or less around up here around B and approaching C. So that means that we have me and the cruiser up here and one battleship coming in our direction. So we have the cruiser, and he went roughly up here. And we have a battleship also. He's coming this way around. Another battleship going in this direction, and then we have our destroyers down here in A just kind of hanging around. And we get a big push now towards C, and this is the part where you need to really do some risk analysis, some target management, because a lot of them are going to be shooting at me. You can see here from my 6th sense indicator, a skill which I highly recommend and is borderline overpowered if you ask me. There's already 2 guys aiming at me, but yeah, there will be more incoming fire. And I'm already down to about roughly 60% health. I'm trying to track the Devonshire, but he's smart enough to not... He's hiding behind the rock now, and he's going to stay there for a little bit while the heat takes off. Instead, you see a Gnevne coming around here, and it is a destroyer, but in the grand scheme of things, not a particularly dangerous one, because he has very short-range torpedoes and also low torpedo alpha. Second battleship coming around here. I just ignored the Gnevne and decided to focus on the Viribus. Me and the guy in the cruiser up here, you can see that I went up here, kind of behind the island. And that's because I want to be able to engage the Viribus without anybody else being able to shoot at me, because otherwise you can really lose your health quickly. We put another salvo into the guy. I'm honestly a little surprised he didn't die, but he has so little health left that our cruiser finished him off pretty quickly. So the cruiser, he moved in this direction. And now we have all the red guys coming in, and you can see the Devonshire, he now committed to the push. And of course I take advantage of that. They killed the battleship behind me. I managed to only land 2 turrets on him, but fortunately they are citadel shots. I don't know how he survived this, but at this point I just decide, okay, I'll leave him because our DD is coming up from behind, and I trust him to finish the cruiser, which he does. And let me just hit pause here for a moment, because I'm moving out from the island now. Let's see, enemy battleship. This one, he died. We have the Duke is coming up here. The Iron Duke is coming up here, and our cruiser is going around him, trying to get under his guns. I held a little bit around the island here at sea, but now I'm just pushing out in this direction. And we have 3 enemy ships coming this way, and the Gnevne is going this direction. Things are getting a little bit drawn out, but I hope you guys can manage to follow me. So basically these 3 guys and the destroyer, they are pushing me out of the cap. I can't stay here because their focused fire will definitely destroy the ship. Destroyer just launched a batch of fish at me, and I'm just gunning it. It looks pretty bad. If I eat these, it's gonna really diminish my chances of surviving for the rest of the battle, and that is really important, because the longer you survive, the more possibility you have of influencing the game. and also not donating your ship's point to the enemy team. So you should always prioritize to survive. Actually, above all else, that doesn't mean not to be pushing or being offensive, but cautiously. So don't risk your ship for nothing. So let's start the video again, and I'm moving out of the cab. We already finished the Devonshire. He's down, so that means we just have the destroyer and 2 enemy ships up behind me. Meanwhile, you can just see here that the Iron Duke managed to finish our cruiser. So now the situation is that I'm more or less alone, except for 1 destroyer in the rear helping me out, and there's 3 ships left. So we have a battleship, 2 battleships, and the destroyer. I'm just focusing to get the destroyer taken out and manage and get some more fish off, and like just praying to be quick enough, and I just managed to exactly escape the torpedoes. Now I have another problem though. I'm running into the edge of the map. I don't really have anywhere to go, and I'll just pause the video shortly because there's something is happening here that I also want to talk a little bit about, which is that the Iron Duke, while being 1 tier lower than the Warspite, had significantly more health. Like I had a third of my health going in, with the last rep kit just coming off cooldown. So there's a big disparity in hit points, and I need to do something about that if I possibly can. And what I am doing is, you can see that I have enabled the auto aim button here, and I disabled that because the auto aim has a tendency to focus like, how to put it, in the middle of the ship, like right in the armor belt, and that's not necessarily optimal at this range. Like at longer ranges, it may not make such a big difference because you just simply want to land shells. It's a little bit harder to aim, but at such a close range as this one, you have the possibility of aiming, but not with the auto aim on. So I take it off so that I can aim for vulnerable parts of the ship, and in this case, I'm going to be aiming for his front gun turrets, because I'm hoping to take them out, like do module damage to them, and that way diminish the amount of damage that he can do to my ship. And also, turret hits have a tendency to generate, or at least when you aim for the turret, you have a tendency to generate citadel hits, and I really need some citadel hits in order to even out the disparity in health points. And at this point, I'm not at all concerned with what's going on behind me. This guy's right up in my face, so we need to address that, of course. Let's move on with the video and see what happens. Guns reload, and I land. I don't take out his turret because you can see it's not blacked out, but I did score a large amount of damage, including 1 citadel hit. And now it's me who have the upper hand, and I highly doubt that he can do 16,000 damage in a single volley to me while he is dying himself. And again, you can see I'm coming off the reload now, and notice that I only single click. I only shot a single turret, or fired a single turret, because I want to see if I can get some shots in on this guy, and he only needed 1 turret to fire in order to die, and that means that I have the remaining 3 shots left. Unfortunately, I didn't get to finish off the Fuso. Our DD guy did, and he did a really good job in this battle. So it got really intense, and it was absolutely necessary to manage targets and manage incoming damage in this battle, because it's like most of the guys were pushing to get C-cap and destroy my ship and my teammates' ships. But it all went okay. It ended okay. We managed to survive the battle, deal a fair amount of damage, and take C. Didn't take so much else, unfortunately, but the enemy came to us, so we didn't actually have much of a choice. There was not much possibility of being mobile. Instead, I could just focus on doing what battleships do well, which is to tank damage and deal out damage. And you can see here we have the guy in the Icarus, and major shout out to you, my man. You did good, especially taking out the Devonshire when he was like at the very edge of his life, so I didn't have to concern myself with that anymore. That was a good spot. I think that, as you can see on the enemy team, the Devonshire actually played quite well. I know that the British heavy cruisers, they have a really bad rep. Personally, I like them. I think that the grind was pretty good, except for the tier 5 ship, which is just horrendous. So, and he did good, I think, overall. You can also see that Car, I don't know if you mean Lucky Car, and some of you might know what I mean by Lucky Car. Yeah, I don't know if it relates to that, but he also did okay. He was not very pushy, but like we kind of rammed him or like ran him down a little bit. So he did the best he could. The Virib was not a particularly quick ship, so trying to just mitigate damage and dish out damage for as long as possible in his position, which was up here near C, is probably the best course of action for him, since he called, like he figured out too late what was going on. And the rest of the guys, you can see we were lucky. The Königsberg had no influence on the game at all, just got killed, pushed a little bit too hard in the beginning. And their two destroyers also luckily didn't manage to do much. I think it was their mistake that they didn't push A, but yeah, we will never know if that changed anything. And for our own team, well, you can see that actually the enemy had DD superiority right off the bat, because we lost a destroyer. I suppose he made a mistake. It happens sometimes. But yeah, still not particularly good news. But our other DD guy, he really compensated for that. Apart from that, I don't think really a lot of our guys managed a whole lot. But it was okay. Sometimes raw damage numbers don't really say everything, because you can win simply by points by holding the caps. And I've won and lost plenty of battles on points, even though we were ahead on both damage and kills. So that's the way the game goes. But yeah, that's it for this video. There's more interesting battleship tactics, or just tactics in general, and I will try to cover them in future videos. So thank you for watching this far, and yeah, I'll be seeing you guys soon.